Hello, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to the next show will be better. It's the Hickson Diaries live stream podcast. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm so happy to have you all here. We are going to have an open show tonight. Basically, I'm going to let the chat take over. I kind of flaked out a little bit today. Well, I didn't flake out. I was doing the Epstein video and I got super emotional and I was like, I have to do the live show tonight. So I'm going to take some time to go through all of that so that I don't have to bring all of that baggage with me. So the time that I would normally be planning for the production and everything of the show, I was spending on that. So bear with me. I do apologize. But, you know, honestly, when you guys take over, it usually goes well. So it's a little bit crazy sometimes, but usually it goes well. But yeah, we have a new vlog out today. If you guys are interested in my comments and feelings about the Epstein files that were released, I'm not nice. I'm just letting you know. And then I'll hold back. But if it's not your deal, it's totally fine. But it is out for you guys. And there are a couple vlogs out over the weekend as well, as usual. Yeah. There's so much really to say, right? I could talk for hours. I literally could have made that video like hours long because I was in a rant mood anyway. So beware. Anyways, let's see who's here because the show is only better when you all are here. Disco is here. He gets the gold star because, you know, he was the first one here. You guys want to chat a little bit early, I'm usually on around 10 minutes or so beforehand. So I'm just saying, you could start the engagement then. You get a little bit of personal time with me. If that's something that you want, most of you probably don't, which I understand because I'm just a little bit scary. But anyways, so glad to have you here, Disco. And Richard is here. Glad to have you here as well, Richard. Roy Cousins is here. So happy to have you. Diane is here. So happy to have you. Manny, woo, is here. We have someone who's returned, John Broxton, who has had a little bit of a hiatus from us, but that's okay. We understand. We don't take it personally. Life takes over. We get it, I guess. There's something that's more important than the live show, but whatever. Just kidding. We're really happy to have you back, John. Hope everything is well. Glenn Wright is here as well. Diane, I believe I said you were here, but just in case, Diane is here. I see. Oh, you guys were chatting while I was getting ready to go live here. Oof, oof. You guys are awesome. Oh, I hope that everything is better now. I'm glad to hear you're not dying, Richard. I missed some of that, but I am very glad to hear you're not dying. And I'm glad that everything is on the upside, heading towards the upside, John. We're really, really happy to have you there. Oh, want news, Groundhog Mandy. Yesterday was Groundhog Day, wasn't it? You guys don't do that here, right? Is it 20? Yeah, yesterday was Groundhog Day. I'm sure it's, 6 more weeks of winter. What a dumb thing. Do you guys know about Groundhog Day? Like the actual holiday? Like it's actual holiday. They celebrate it. Like it's a big festival. It's a news story. It's a freaking it's a rat, basically. It's vermin. What are we paying attention to it for? Whatever. Anyway. Oh, Disco, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Glenn, you as well. Thank you. I appreciate that as well. Wow, you guys are awesome. Richard says I'm in my Sherlock Holmes dressing gown. I think it's so funny that you guys call it a dressing gown. I don't know why. Why do we call it a dressing gown here? To be fair, I don't really know if robe is appropriate either, but I suppose because this is, I suppose it comes from people used to put it on as they were dressing and then they would put their actual attire on, right? I suppose that's probably where it derives from. We can look it up in a second to see if I'm right. And if you guys want to let me know what you think in the chat, that'd be cool. But people wear them all the time. Did they not wear them all the time? I guess back then they dressed all the time, didn't they? Because you never knew who was coming over and stuff. And it's just evolved now to when you're home, you're in your robe. As I'm working it out as we talk. Anyway, that's a good question, Glenn. Glenn asked Richard if he's smoking a pipe. I think that is something we need to know. Do you have a brandy in your hands? Actually, that wasn't him. That was Hugh Hefner, wasn't it? My bad. John says, I like the channel swag shirt, Mandy. Thank you. Yes, we have some merch. Definitely have some merch. If you guys want some merch, let's go to hicksondiaries.com and you can get some of your own if you want. I just missed the sale. We're having a sale in January. Sorry if you just missed it, but very, very, some good stuff on there. And we're adding more stuff all the time. So it's definitely always worth checking back at hicksondiaries.com. There's tons of free stuff that's just fun interactive quizzes and stuff. There's merch. There's a blog that I only send out to people on the newsletter email list. By the way, if you guys do want to be on the email list, definitely sign up. It's a link in the description box. If it's not there now, it should be there once this gets replayed. It's below all the videos. So it's completely free. But then you'll get the blog emailed to you. And of course, you get extra stuff emailed to you every once in a while as well. So I'm just saying, you get the inside scoop if you're interested. Every once in a while. Do I have a house coat? No, I do not. I don't have a robe. I don't have a house coat. I don't have a dressing gown. I had a robe in America because I used to work in my pajamas a lot because I could. But we literally came with 2 suitcases each, guys. So anything that wasn't absolutely necessary that we couldn't get here, or either anything that was absolutely necessary for our survival, or something that we knew we couldn't get here, or had like a special, emotional attachment or memory to. Other than that, no. Nothing came. Like, yeah, I didn't even bring all my shoes, which, given the storage that we have, definitely was the right decision. Roy, I don't know what you mean by deer stalker. I don't know what that is. Hello, TJ. Thank you for being here. We're glad to have you. Great quiz night, by the way. I know I had to bail on it early because I was tired. I think I'm fighting a cold again. But it was good. I was having fun. Deerstalker is a country where... Oh, okay. John Broxton says, I'm having trouble comprehending all the Epstein stuff. It's just appalling. I watched your video earlier and I agree 100%. I am just appalled by everything. Yeah, it's a real eye-opener on so many levels. I mean, there's the obvious level of the ridiculous abuse and trafficking and all of that. There's the level of corruption. There's the level of cover-up, which means probably involves American governments on one level or another. I don't think it's exclusive to presidents. That's just my interpretation. I wouldn't be surprised if there were other countries involved. Clearly, the UK is involved. I mean, other countries outside of the UK. There's definitely lots more people in there that committed these ridiculous, heinous acts. I mean, some of the details are absolutely gut-wrenching. I was bawling my eyes out reading some of this stuff. And not like just tearing up. Like, I was literally like that snotty, gross bawling your eyes out. It's so heinous and gross. It is really hard to comprehend. It is huge. It is absolutely huge. It's not just about America. It is just huge in general. It's got to include a lot more people. It's so heart-wrenching when you read some of these some of them are personal accounts, like people literally writing in their diaries and stuff about what happened to them on a regular basis. How does anyone who's a human being allow that, or condone it, or just ignore it and look the other way? It's absolutely freaking disgusting and appalling, and in every possible way. Anyway, I'm with you, John. It's horrible. Mick MacArthur is here. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Hello, Ann Miller. Thank you so much for being here. I feel like this might be the first time that you've joined us. But do correct me if I'm wrong. Your handle definitely sounds familiar. So you've been here before, or I've seen some of your comments. So thank you for both. Either way, I appreciate it. Richard says there have been rich, depraved people forever. Yes, of course, Richard. Absolutely, of course. I don't want to dismiss the gravity of the abuse that these girls went under by saying what I'm going to say. I am not at all surprised or inherently shocked that rich, powerful people use their position to do things they always sickly dreamed of doing or whatever. And of course, there's always people in power that are going to try to exploit those who have no power, or, are desperate or in some kind of desperate situation. It's just it's so many victims. And it's such a huge cover-up. And the American government was involved in the cover-up. I mean, it's sickening. It's just sickening to think about. On any level, for any government, right? But for a government that claimed and brainwashes its people to believe it's the freest country in the world, with liberty and justice for all, which is literally a line in our Pledge of Allegiance that we have to recite every single day. Liberty and justice for all is the last line of the fucking Pledge of Allegiance. So for that country to be so deeply involved in such a huge abuse ring, it's devastating. I mean, I would imagine, and I don't know because I've never experienced it before, and certainly this isn't exactly the same type of thing as seeing your country being torn from war and wondering if it's going to come out on the other side, but I would imagine that this is how it feels, because that I feel like the country has died. Like it's certainly more so my perception of the country that has died more than anything, but or what I was raised to believe has died. But it's just this is like one of the most horrific things that I have ever experienced or been around to see or watch unfold. It's just really horrible. The people in power and the people that have money, they don't give a shit about us guys. They just don't. So many people revere them. Why? They would literally shit on you if it meant anything to them. Ned Ryerson, I sell insurance. That is shocking. Good movie. Thank you for quoting it, John. Why is everyone saying hi but not to Janice? I'm not sure I understand what you mean, Anne. I didn't see any Janice in the chat yet. Did I miss something? Perhaps I'm misunderstanding your comment, and if you wouldn't mind clarifying for me a little bit, I'd be happy. Certainly don't want to leave anyone out. TJ says Groundhog Day is Monday through Friday for me. I would think for most people, TJ, honestly. It's not for me, though. Just saying. Although, it can be pretty monotonous, honestly. Running your own business, constant. Manny says, I'm just finishing my dinner as I got home after 6 following an appointment, so I'm behind. Oh, that's okay. You don't have to apologize. Go do what you got to do. Glenn Wright says, I have witnessed Epstein behavior firsthand. It is not uncommon in corporate America. Oh my God, Glenn. I know it's not. I mean, I worked in corporate America for like 25 years. And I was a teenager. I was 18 when I started working in corporate America. So believe me, I've had my fair share of, comments, passes made at me and all of that kind of stuff. But it's just difficult. It's really, really horrifying to think about the fact that this is like common. It's just, again, I'm not naive. I knew this happened on some level. I think it's really just shocking how big it is, on the level that it has reached for over, almost 2 decades. It's really, 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 really unsettling. I mean, I have a teenage daughter, guys, who is the same age as some of these victims were. I also just don't know. Again, this is probably me just being naive in a sense, but I don't understand how people can see another person and not consider them human. You know what I mean? Like, to be able you can't possibly consider them, you obviously don't consider them on the same level as you, even if you do consider them human, right? They're subhuman in some way, or you wouldn't be able to do these types of things to people, right? It's just, it's been going on forever, right? As long as mankind has been around in one fashion or another. But it's still appalling to me that it's 2026 and it's somewhat accepted in certain circles still. It's just baffling to me. That's why I think I had to say something. I was trying not to, because I didn't want to be the sensationalizing of it. You know, like a lot of people are just jumping on the bandwagon for clicks and stuff. And you guys know that I don't do that kind of stuff. I try to like be really real honest. I treat this as my diary. And if I wouldn't comment on it or reflect on it in a real diary, then I wouldn't put it on the channel. Right. But I just couldn't. I just kept seeing my daughter's face. And I couldn't let it go. And the scariest part is there's still like 3 million more documents to be released. And as atrocious and horrifying as this set of documents has been, chances are, building on precedent, that the last set of documents are probably 1,000 times worse. And I can't even fathom what is be in there. Okay, we're going to try to reset. I'm happy to talk about this more, but I'm not going to go on any more rants. We're just going to have an open discussion. My apologies for hijacking. It is supposed to be your night, guys. Roy Cousin says, Punxsutawney Phil was yesterday, I think. Yeah, it's February 2nd. Yeah, I forgot all about it. John Broxton says, do you take a bath in your bathrobe? With a wink. No, see what it is, it's a robe for when you get out of the bath, because it's nice and cozy, and it's got usually it's terry cloth, so it dries you off. See, I used to sell these to hotels. So it's usually terry cloth. Those are what the high-end hotels use, right? They're really heavy and they're thick, and you know, the slippers and everything. So when you get out of the bath in your luxurious hotel room, you put on this lovely, luxurious robe that just kind of warms you, and you get super cozy and comfortable in your room before you go to bed. That's what a bathrobe's for. Dressing gown is the same thing, but I think dressing gowns typically have like, no, that would be house coats that have like the zipper. And the house coats are, because my great grandmother used to wear a house coat all the time. So she used to have it on all the time when we went over. So it's a zip up, right? And that was to protect your clothing when you were cleaning and stuff, so that you didn't get any of that stuff on your clothes. And then you just take the house coat off when you had company or whatever. So it's a little different. But the bathrobe dressing gown thing, I think, has just evolved into the luxurious, you know, bathrobe thing that we do. Probably when showers were invented, you know, as a way to have people still take baths, which is really, because there is like a cohort of people, like a contingency of people in the world who have access to showers but prefer baths. And really, like, it's become kind of a culture, taking a bath. I'm not really into it. I go through phases. Sometimes I will take a bath if I really just want to soak and relax, but most of the time I like just like soaking and soaking. Most of the time I just want to get clean and get on with my day. And if I want to like have downtime and relax, I'm usually in bed reading or something. Richard said officially it's going to have another 6 weeks of winter. Fair enough, Richard. Thank you for the update. I really feel like I don't ever remember there not being 6 more weeks of winter. Like, I don't remember them ever saying, "Oh yeah, spring is on its way." In my whole lifetime that I've been around and witnessing this. Janice Middleton. I'm sorry, and I do not know what you're saying. And Anne is saying Glazing John right now too. So I don't know. Obviously, I'm missing something. Fair. I just don't know what the hell it is. Richard said houses were much colder back then. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, if you're in like a steaming hot bath, as soon as you get out, you're going to be cold because you're wet. So having that big, heavy robe getting out of the bath is probably where that came from as well. Yeah, I just wear, like, I have like house clothes, I guess, clothes that I like just wear around the house, and then if I go out, I change. Disco, I'm so glad that you're confused too, because I don't know what Anna's speaking of. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm not following. Butterfly Effect is here. Oh, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Glad to have you. Butterfly Effect says, yes, sat through the film Groundhog Day one evening. It went on for a week. I actually liked it, but I'm kind of sick of it because it's become a little bit of like a novelty and it's on a lot. But I like Bill Murray, but sometimes he's hit or miss. So, but I don't know. I haven't watched that in a long ass time. I liked it better before it became like a cult fave. Gabriel Blank is here. Thank you for being here, Gabriel. Have you heard of darts over in the US? Yeah, my dad used to play. Well, he didn't play it in a league or anything like that, but he used to have a dart board in our basement. We had like a full basement in the house that I grew up in, and he had like a bumper pool table, a bar, and a dart board. And we used to play darts all the time. He had a dart board where it was the regular dart board, and then on the other side it was baseball, because he was well into baseball. So we would play both. I never watched like dart competitions or anything though, but I did have a couple friends that were in dart leagues, but I just never went to watch them play or anything. I've gotten well into it here though. Could be the dressing up, in all fairness. TJ says, I'm currently wishing I had some Sherlock's other vices to hand. Am I just thick today? Why am I not getting anything? Oh, Janice is Gabriel. It's Gabriel. That was, sorry, your comment about the darts thing just came up. I'm getting through the comments very, very slow, guys, because I can't shut the fuck up. That's what happens here. Sorry. Now it makes sense. Okay. Richard said, never smoked, and brandy would put me to sleep. I once dated someone who we used to do community theater together, and he used to have a shot of blackberry brandy before he went on stage because he got so nervous. It was kind of fun, actually. It does loosen you up, in all fairness. I've not really had brandy otherwise. Mick says, isn't it strange when the UK have a holiday, most of us have a day off, but Americans don't? It is, but America has a lot of holidays. Like, they have a holiday for everything. But honestly, we should have more time off. There are some holidays that are actual holidays that we should have time off for. Juneteenth should be a holiday, a national holiday you should have the day off for in America. It's an American holiday. It's ridiculous. Martin Luther King Day is probably another one. Glenn asks, which vice did you have in mind? That's for you, TJ. What about the darts? So darts in the UK, and I'm not sure where you're located, but darts in the UK, they have, it's a big competition. They have cheerleaders, which is really funny. I don't know why they have cheerleaders. It's kind of crazy. But also everybody dresses up in costumes when they go to watch the dart competitions. They're really fun. They're really fun to watch. TJ wants a vice that takes away the pain. Yeah, we're at that age, aren't we? John says, Deerstalker is the hat Sherlock Holmes wears. Oh. Gotcha. See, learn something new every day. Every day in the UK is in learning day. Richard says to get one, it would save me money on heating. You know, I thought of that. I love my slippers, my little Eskimo slippers. I know you guys, if you guys have been with me for a while, I posted some pictures. I love my Eskimo slippers. I literally have slipper socks on with my Eskimo slippers, and they do keep my feet extremely warm. I do have a really good sweater, like a long cardigan with a hood even, that is extremely warm. So if I'm very, very cold, I usually put that on. But I hear what you're saying. It would be nice to have a robe to just throw on and then take off before I get into bed. Instead of having, now, because we have this huge, our bedroom is the hottest room in the house. And we have this really huge, heavy down comforter. So it's really hot sleeping in our bedroom sometimes. So I literally am like peeling layers off when I get into bed because I know I'm going to wake up sweaty and hot if I don't. Hi, Marja, Genghis. I'm so happy to have you here. Hope everything is well. A lovely gray day, but good things were done. Love the positivity. I don't know about lovely gray day. I think I said in my short earlier today that it is kind of draining. It's getting to me now. But it is later in the year than it was last year, so I'm trying to keep that in mind that it'll get better as time goes on. But I'm ready for spring because I'm mainly done with rain and I miss the sun. Like I need some more sun. If we had a day or two of sun, I'd probably be okay. But it's driving me a little bit crazy that you guys have no sun. I need sun. I miss the sun. TJ, your quizzes are awesome. We have so much fun. It was so nice that Fanta was there as well. Well, Sherlock would wear it in the country, but a top hat in London. Did he? Did he wear a top hat in London? I guess so. He would have, right? Because the hat with the coat matched. It had the like Burberry-ish look. And then I do remember seeing him in like a dark black coat in London. So I think a black top hat probably would have been better. You're right. So that makes sense. That makes sense. And Richard is a wealth of resource and knowledge, so I do trust it. Most of the time, he's right. What is laudanum? Laudanum. Historically, it's a historical and still prescribed tincture. Oh, what the hell a tincture is? Of opium from the poppy plant in alcohol, used primarily as a potent painkiller, sedative, and anti-diarrheal. But its use declined during the addiction due to the addiction risks, though it's still available for severe diarrhea. Containing opium alkaloids, it relieves pain and sedation, but carries risks of dependence, overdose, especially for children, and side effects often replaced by modern alternatives, though sometimes called opium tincture. Never heard of opium tincture before, and I never heard of that before. but it sounds like what TJ might be looking for her ailments, but I'm not a doctor. She says it will do. Your body, your choice. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I think you might have left some comments though, Anne. Your name definitely, your handle looks familiar, but we're happy to have you here either way. Thank you and welcome. And I appreciate you taking a chance on us. I hope you have fun. If there's anything you want to talk about, you have any questions or anything like that, definitely don't be shy. We're an open-minded chat. As long as we're respectful, we'll talk about anything and everything. BBC covered up a certain person for years. That's true. I did a whole video about that too. When Prince Andrew formerly Prince Andrew lost his title. I just don't know how you can sleep at night with that stuff. Like, just to know that that's going on and still sleep at night. It's terrible. It's horrible. Anyway. If they hold the reins of power, how would one wrestle it from them? Marja asks. That is a really good question, Marja. And it's probably not a one-size-fits-all answer. I mean, in the current climate in the United States anyway, protest seems to be doing some good work, because it is, although it's becoming very dangerous, it seems to be putting pressure on Donald Trump. That is one thing about Donald Trump, is he actually does care about the polls and all that kind of stuff. Like, he wants to look good. He wants the people to like him. All right. Not necessarily the rabble of the normal average American, but if I'm going to say if we're putting enough pressure on them or people around him that he cares about, then like his image to them, then we are getting some things done. I mean, that's how we got the guy that was leading ICE under the two people that were murdered and everything. We got him reassigned. He's going to retire. We have someone new in there that's a little bit calmer. They've pulled some people out, some ICE agents. So of Minneapolis anyway. So I think that is part of the power we have. Obviously, we can vote for the right people, or, with the best knowledge that we have at that time, but we have to make sure it's actual real knowledge, right? And it's not propaganda. And just having conversations like this, because we need to have conversations with each other so that we know we're not alone in these opinions, especially when we feel like we're the minority. But also we need to have conversations with people who don't necessarily agree with us or think like us, because if we don't, those lies are going to keep perpetuating as well. So, I mean, we can't do much. Fair. That's a fair point. But we can at least do that. We can at least call for accountability. We can at least call for, they weren't even going to release the Epstein files until a couple of the Congress people put some pressure on them. So, and then the public, supported that effort. So it can be done, but it's not easy. It's not easy. And especially in a situation like most of the world is right now, where we're all struggling just to make ends meet. It's the last thing on our mind, right? But that's when they know they've got us. So that's why we have to be really careful in this timeline. Good question, though. That's just my opinion as well, Marja. Like, I'm sure that other people that are much better at organizing and staying on top of stuff have better ideas. So we just have to figure out where those organizations are, how they align with us personally, and how we can get involved as well. I mean, London was doing anti-ICE protests a couple weeks ago. I was talking to Misty, the Tudor Yank. Shout out Misty. And she was telling me that she didn't know about it till that day, but she ended up going to the London one. So it's just, you have to be as vigilant as you can be in the capacity that's at your disposal. If anyone has any ideas about what we could do, I'm all ears. I'm open. If you guys have some ideas on how we can do anything to help in anything that we talk about. John Buxton says, liberty and justice for all, unless you can afford to pay to get out of it. True, man. Jesus. That comment's got a lot of weight to it. He goes on to say, feel like the country has died, and that's how you feel too. Yeah. Manny says, before I jumped on here, I saw your video about the Epstein files, and I totally get and understand just how upset and angry you were and still are. It's absolutely beyond sickening and appalling. Yeah. There you go. Richard says, in response to Marge's question, with a great deal of force. Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in violence. I don't condone violence unless it's absolutely necessary. And in my eyes, it's only absolutely necessary in some kind of self-defense situation. And it's a case-by-case basis. But we have to put pressure. We have to tell these people that we're not going to go away and that we're not going to put up with it. And we, like, in whatever way we can, non-violently. The reason I'm anti-violence in those settings is because it loses the narrative. It gives them the upper hand on the narrative. Then they get to craft a story to not listen to us. And then, what's the point? But, emotions run high in these situations and stuff happens. And hopefully nobody gets seriously hurt. But I don't know. In America, in places like Minneapolis, I would be extremely cautious against violence. And there's other cities the other thing is there's lots of cities that this is happening and that people aren't getting murdered and they're actually pushing ICE back. So, but obviously the most egregious thing is when someone's going to shoot someone else point blank, an American citizen on American soil when they're supposed to be protecting. It's ridiculous. But it is a sad reality of American life in today's world. Gabriel Blank says, I want justice for Epstein. You want justice on behalf, like you want Epstein to have justice? Or are you saying that you want justice for like the victims involved? I just want to make sure I understand where you are. I'm not judging either way. I might be judging a tad because I have strong feelings about it, but I'm happy to have the discussion. Marja says, you got to change the status quo. Well, that's the problem, right? And they do have the power and they have the money and they don't want to change the status quo. So they're going to fight like hell, of course. But it can happen. I mean, revolutions have happened before and they happen all the time. And they can still happen. Just hopefully they're not violent or with minimal violence. John Boxton says, it feels like the country I pledged to under Obama when I became a citizen has just been taken over by the most corrupt and immoral people imaginable. Honestly, John, I said in my video that this has been going on since Obama, but actually it's been going on since George W. That's when Epstein was actually arrested. So that means it was going on well before then. So, I mean, honestly, it's been going on forever. It's ridiculous. But I hear what you're saying. I do. I hear what you're saying. I mean, I spent, 7-8 years of my life pledging allegiance to this fucking country every single day. I mean, my dad fought for this country. I have cousins that have fought for this country. My grandfather fought for this country, for the United States. I'm speaking of, sorry to be confusing. And for what? So that rich playboys could do whatever they wanted to children? It's just disgusting. Mick MacArthur says, we have a lot of sleazeball in the UK. Mendelsohn, Randy, Andy, and his horrible wife, and so many more. Even Meghan Markle was supposed to be hanging around. Yeah, I know there's more people than Andrew. even more, and I saw the story on Mandelson, right? And obviously, like Jimmy Savile and all that. Like, I know he's not associated with Epstein. He has his own issues, right? But I know there's more than that. You can't have over 1,000 victims and only have 2 pedophiles, guys. It doesn't make sense. He has too many powerful friends who are also implicated. Yeah. TJ says, I agree with Gabriel Blank. He shouldn't have been murdered. He should have been stood trial. I agree. I would have much rather seen him stand trial. And I think a lot of this stuff would have come out during the trial, and there would have been a lot less hazing and gaslighting and BS to deal with. And I think that the victims would have, at least some of them, would have gotten some justice. And I agree with you, TJ. In my opinion, I don't think that he committed suicide. Just based on the fact that there's minutes missing from the tape. I mean, that's pretty standard. Marcia said Trump is a good person, with a question mark. I'm not sure if what you're saying. I don't personally believe Trump is a good person. He's cheated on his wife, his pregnant wife. He's been accused of raping his first wife. I mean, he was called all but a rapist in court and convicted of it. He swindles people with his fake universities and his fake business ventures. He tries to pass himself off as a billionaire and, the art of the deal guy, when he's been bankrupt like a dozen times. And he's just manipulative and selfish, and he takes bribes. So, I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't match with me. But I'm curious if you're saying it or you're asking. Excuse me. I'm sorry, you guys. Manny says, no amount of money could ever make me want to visit the U.S. right now, or for that matter, it is total dumpster fire. Sorry, Mandy. I hope all of the remaining Epstein files are released. First of all, you don't have to apologize. Everyone's allowed to have their opinion. I don't really feel like I have anything to go back for, and I've lived there for most of my life. I don't blame you. There's a lot of people that are canceling trips. A bunch of people left comments that they were canceling trips. I saw a couple videos about people canceling their tickets to the World Cup because it was in the U.S. A bunch of calls for FIFA to boycott, which isn't going to happen. Be cool, right? But it's not going to happen. And not just for the fact that, it's turbulent and violent, which is more than enough reason, but also for the fact that it is enormously expensive. Like, the tariffs and stuff the prices are incredible. I know the prices are high here for food and stuff, but the prices are incredibly high in America. It is really bad. The tariffs have kicked in and it is bad. So I don't even know, like, what are you paying for, really? To sit in your hotel room, right? Like, I mean, I guess some people like that. Some people, that's a good vacation, but I don't know. For me, it's not for me. Roy Cousins says, I worked for a large American corporation most of my working life. Fortunately, it was in the UK, so the culture didn't cross over. That's interesting, Roy, because I've heard other stories of people who've worked for American companies here, and they had culture clashes because Americans were trying to implement the American work culture here. But I'm glad you had a better experience. John Baxton says, not considering people human, that's how atrocities have been justified throughout history. Sad, but very, very true. Sorry, I missed my place. TJ says, oh, that's for Marsha. Glenn says, they targeted my teenage daughter at one time. I kept her on the other side of the Atlantic after that. Oh my God. Oh my freaking God. Oh, see, like that's like my worst nightmare. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. That's disgusting. I hope everybody's okay, Glenn. I mean, you seem to be like everything's okay, but yeah. Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine. See, that's what I'm trying to say. Like all I could see when I'm reading some of these stories that these girls at the time, now they're women, were writing about what was happening to them. And all I could think was, oh my God, this could be my daughter's diary. Like, what if this was my kid's diary? I would lose it. I would be in jail because I would lose it. I would hope that I would have some kind of self-control, but I definitely understand the kind of rage that people get. But I have a little bit more self-control. I probably wouldn't end up in jail, but it would take a lot of restraint. Let's just put it that way. Lots of wild turkey. Actually, wild turkey probably wouldn't be a calming, soothing thing in that instance. So let's just take that out of the equation because that's probably not true. Oh. John says Native Americans by colonizers, Black Africans by colonizers, Jews by Nazi, etc., etc. Yeah, and if it's going on, long before the United States was established, right? I mean, there's lots of conquering and taking of slaves and attempts at genocides, and I think we've talked about this once before on this channel, but there's more atrocities that have been committed in the name of religion or sacrifice for the greater good kind of thing than ever in human history. It's insane. Marcia says we've always had a feudal system, just different packaging. I can see why you think that. Yeah, I have a little bit of a different point of view, but I also have the privilege of white skin growing up in America. And I know a lot of people will think I'm being silly or something about that, but the racism in America is not covert at all. And it's blatant and it's real and it's really bad. I don't know that it's the worst in the world because I haven't been anywhere else really, and other people like to argue with me about that. So I'm not going to say that, but it is bad. And you don't understand the gravity of how bad it actually is, I don't think, until you've experienced it there. My partner has said that many times, that he had no idea how racist America was until he lived there. And how he saw, like, he literally worked with people who were blatantly racist to him, like not to him or about him, but in general, in front of him, about coworkers and other people. Janice Bartholomew the third. Nice handle, thanks. Says Epstein Justice. I appreciate you being here. And I'm not sure what you mean though. Appreciate the comment. If you want to elaborate, I'm happy to continue the conversation by all means. John Broxton says, if all that is in the 3 million that has been released, what the hell is in the final 3 million? It doesn't. Yeah, I agree with you. That's where my mind went as well, and I'm very, very on edge. I don't really want to know, but I kind of like feel like the world needs to know. Manny says this Trump administration is full of too many pedo protectors, and that's just appalling and shameful beyond words. Yeah. Well, I mean, when your leader doesn't seem to think there's anything wrong with, that kind of abuse or that kind of exploitation, then the people who also agree with him, who also think that, are going to flock to him. It's just natural human instinct, unfortunately. We had an opportunity, guys, as my fellow Americans, we had an opportunity to not have him be reelected. Now, I understand why a lot of people didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris, but we knew what we were going to get with a second Trump term. And now he's talking about, like, taking over all of the elections and making them all federal so that the federal government has the final say in what the election outcomes are. And I'm not even joking. That's a real story I saw on the news today. He's already had his FBI raid the county in Georgia that he lost in 2020 because he wants to prove fraud, even though he's had 60 court cases that have all come up with nothing. That is one thing about Trump, is he tells you who he is. If you just listen. Margie said it's always delay, misdirection, then forgotten. Yep. Richard says, I have seen blankets with arms. Yes. I can't remember what they're called. Snuggies, I want to say. I don't know if that's right, though. I've seen them, though. They were like on those late night infomercial. Do you guys have infomercials here? You don't, I don't think. That's really funny. Infomercial. Sorry. I don't know why I can't say that today. Infomercials are commercials, advertisements that were always on really late night. They're really badly directed. They're basically like a upstart, someone trying to sell you something crazy or, over expensive, or like, I want you to have this collection of Elvis plates that will be worth a lot of money someday. And you would buy the collection. Snuggies, which are the blankets with the arms, were originated from that. And then they went mainstream for like a day, and then they weren't anymore. My sister-in-law made something very, very similar for her husband and for my husband for their teams. He's a Chelsea fan, and my partner's a Man U fan. And so she made them in blue and red, and she put like numbers on the back and stuff. And it had a hood. I don't know if my partner still has it. I think it's in one of the boxes in my mom's house. I don't think we got rid of it, but I don't remember bringing it either because it was heavy. It was big and bulky. Marcia says, keep it in the consciousness. Yeah, that's really what we need to do. We need to make sure we don't forget, because everyone's trying to distract us nowadays, right? Everybody's trying to distract us for one reason or another. What we have to do is keep our eye on the ball and just really make sure that we put as much pressure on as within our capacities. John says, look at you in your swanky hotel room. We had a tin bath in front of the fire if we were lucky, and 5 of us had to share the same water. I remember Disco telling us a story about that at one point, too. In all fairness, I have never been in a swanky bathroom like that. We just sold 2 luxury hotels. I was just in charge of the branding. and like, the ins and outs of the rollouts and stuff. But oh, sorry. Yeah, so it's just, yeah, I wish I could, but I haven't. But I sold the lie. I sold the feeling and the imagery of what it really means to have luxury in your hotel, and the robe was part of that, along with the 300 thread count sheets, and all, of course, Egyptian cotton, and the lovely curtains and the toiletries. It's an ambiance. It all works together. I got people DMing me. They don't know I'm live, apparently. Roy Cousin says, I have a bathrobe, but no bath, just a shower. Aw, sad. Do you put your bathrobe on after the shower, so it would be a shower robe instead? Tin bath luxury. Oh. Marsha says that Fox News has put Trump's personal phone line to voicemail. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Let me just tell this person that I'm live so they stop DMing me. Oh my gosh, hilarious. So there's this AI video channel called Potato Ninja that has been doing some UK US comparison videos. It's like full AI though, but you guys check it. Don't check it out because I don't want you to give them their views, but we'll catch up at another time on details about that behind the scenes stuff. But it's pretty funny. Disco says, Manny and Mandy and everybody, sorry, I'm going to have to go. Take care. Not a problem, Disco. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll catch up with you during the week. Richard says, I can get into a bath, but not sure if I can get out again. Epsom salts was a lovely bath. Then some moisturizer. That sounds good. Manny says, technically it's still winter until March 20th. Yeah, that is exactly why it's always 6 more weeks of winter. Like, it's just an excuse to sell shit. Very American. Marcia says, I like Bill Murray and Kingpin. I actually never saw Kingpin. I didn't even know he was in that, but I knew Woody Harrelson was in it, and I like Woody Harrelson. He's hilarious. I'll have to put that on my list. Glenn says there's a current hosepipe ban in East Sussex. Really? Even though most of the allotments are underwater. Is it because they can't clean it fast enough? Probably. Because I know that happens when in New Jersey sometimes, because New Jersey has a lot of wetlands, and then it's also a peninsula. So it's got a river and then a bay at the bottom, and then the ocean on the side, and then it's also got a lot of wetlands on the edges. So what happens is it's called flash flooding. So if it rains a lot for like a dump kind of rain where it's a lot in a short period of time, the ground can't soak it up, so it ends up flooding and like creating more wetlands basically. And they can't pump it fast enough. So it might be something like that. That might be the reason why, Glenn. John Broxton says he does get Juneteenth now where he works, and MLK Day. My company is genuinely great about all that. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. I don't know any company that gets Juneteenth. Some companies will give Martin Luther King Jr. Day off, but most will not. Richard says Glenn should grow rice in East Sussex. Yes, that's what you got to do, I guess. See the original illustrations of Sherlock Holmes in the Strand magazine. Will do. Peter Cushing as Sherlock Holmes is my fave. I don't know who that is. Jeremy Brett, Hound of Bakerville. I don't know what any of you guys are talking about. I assume they're people. Glenn Wright says the committee had to call in the local district surface water expert. The poor girl is referenced as Amy the Drain. Aw. That is unfortunate. I like the Sherlock Holmes stories on the radio. Is that because you're old? No, I'm just kidding. I actually kind of miss the radio. I don't listen to the radio a lot. I used to listen to it every once in a while in my car when I drove. Don't drive anymore. And now I listen to like my playlist a lot. I do kind of miss listening to the radio a little bit. And then they'll play the same song 10 times and I won't miss it anymore. Richard says, you don't believe me on haggis. Oh, I believe you. I just know that you keep trying to get me to admit that the legend is real. It's not. Margie says Dr. Watson is often overlooked. Very much, and very much part of all of the crime solving. So I agree with you. Shout out to Dr. Watson. We love you. NHS is your choice, TJ, to feel better. Fair enough. Take advantage while you can. I saw a lovely video of wild haggis the other day. So majestic all over the mountains of Scotland. So lovely to see them in their national habitat. Habitat? Oh, you guys. Drinking from the whiskey streams. John says, regarding the question about reigns of power, Trump announced today that he wants to nationalize elections. Currently, they're run by individual states. Goes on to say, if he does that, it's the end game. If Trump administration controls elections, they will never be fair or legit again. Agreed. Yeah, that's what I was referring to earlier. Yeah, look, he tried to do it the first time, guys. Like, it's just saying we knew what we were getting. That's why I wrote in Mickey Mouse. Marcia said, whichever government you vote for, the government still gets in. Are you talking about UK elections, I think? It's not feudal, though. Local is where it's at, guys. Like, local elections is where it's at. Even in whether you're in the US or the UK, and I would think most areas are similar. Local elections are where it's at, because if you can get local politicians to do something to better your life, then you're going to have hope. Then you're going to, you can put pressure on them to do that. Then they know they're accountable on a local level, which in the end is most of the time who votes for you. So if you can get them to do that, I mean, American system is a little bit different, how it's set up locally and federally. But if you can do that, then at least your community sees some benefits and sees some good happening, right? And you can still live to fight another day. That's a strategy I would go about if I was organizing. But I don't know how to do any of that, to be honest. So I could be just blowing smoke up your ass. But that's what I get from a lot of like friends and stuff that I know that do that they say, start local and then expand. John Boxon says, yeah, but then there are governments where, you're discussing tax rates or shall we build this railway? And then there are governments where you're discussing, do Mexicans deserve civil rights or is it okay to murder people in the street? That's where the U.S. is at. Yeah. I mean, the problem is the U.S. is really far gone. And I'm worried because I know the U.K. has some people in it that wants to mimic the U.S. And it's not, at this point in time, it's not a good idea. I think that is a way to destroy the British culture, in my opinion. Government contracts is a money black hole. Very true in both areas, in both countries. Mick MacArthur says, it will be the haggis breeding season soon, and Rannoch Moor will be full of wee haglets running around getting into mischiefs. You guys are hilarious. TJ says, something is wrong when a German newspaper does a direct correlation with Bovino and an SS officer. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a couple things like that, TJ, but you're absolutely right. How do you not see it? Marcia says, I'm going to catch a wild haggis as a pet. And Richard says, no, let them be free. Freedom, all about freedom. Have I seen haggis videos? No, I haven't. To be honest, I haven't. I will if you want me to, Richard. If you want, I can do a reaction to a haggis video. It seems we have to catch the politicians off guard. On guard. Oh, yes, Trump is fading fast, and hopefully they'll accelerate even more. See, here's my issue, though, guys, and I've warned you about this before. It's not that I'm a Trump fan, and it's not that I want him to be in office, but J.D. Vance is next in line, and he is not good, okay? And if the United States ends up going to an authoritarian government where they don't have term limits, J.D. Vance is young. And even if you got J.D. Vance out, Mike Johnson is the next in line. So it's going from bad to worse when you go down the line. So I'm not really rooting for Trump to stay in office for any reason, but at least there's a little bit of play there because of his ego, and you can bribe him. It's a tough one. It's a tough call. We just have to be really careful what we wish for, because the grass isn't always greener. And I don't think that J.D. Vance is going to do anything to rein in any of the havoc that Trump's created. So I believe personally that he'll probably make it worse. But I have been wrong in the past, so hopefully this will be one of those. I think Trump will die in office. I agree. But I don't know, all of that, all the chemicals in the McDonald's is keeping him alive, I guess. Send me to America in time since my family was looted. We don't want that to happen to you, Richard. Marcia says Hollywood seems like a dead duck. You guys are being mean. Trump is nearly 80. Yeah, I believe so. Oh, for Pete's sake. Yeah, he's 79. Glenn says, I have women friends in the USA who were the victims of low life like Epstein. It ruined their lives. Yep. I'm very sorry that they had to go through that. It's horrible. I definitely have some personal experience with a little bit of that. It certainly wasn't exploited repeatedly like Epstein was, but it does. It stays with you. It completely changes your life. And a lot of the time you don't even understand or know the effect of it. And then all of a sudden, until you start focusing and starting to looking for patterns, it's completely debilitating for some people, and it's horrible. Oh, Marcia was being facetious. Oh, my bad. I thought it was weird. I got you. All right, I'm with you. I get it. Glenn Wright says, my family in South Carolina sent us videos of them playing in the snow. In South Carolina? Wow. Yeah, the storm was pretty bad, but there was power outages, which were not good. But as far as I heard, that was the extent of the major issues. But there's been so much else going on. It's quite possible I could have missed a story or two. Things are stupid expensive right now. Remember, John Broxton lives in Los Angeles. I paid $155 for just a few basic groceries this week. Yeah. Try and save cash. Marja says it's hard. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been pulling out a little bit of cash where I can, stocking up on an extra can of soup and all that everywhere I can, because that's all you can do. There's going to come a time. I hope I'm wrong, but following patterns of this type of thing happening in the past, it's probably going to hit us economically here in the UK. So I'm preparing. I'd rather have a stack of cash and be wrong than not have anything and be caught off guard. So I'm with you, Marja. Good advice. Thank you for reminding us. Mandy says, I think the 2026 World Cup in the US needs to be canceled and just be held in Canada and Mexico, who are proving they are inclusive to the world and who will be safer hosts. I definitely agree with you, Manny. I just don't think it'll happen. I think we're too far into it now, and FIFA is too corrupt. Richard Wilmot says, good cover of the New Yorker, snow-covered New York street with just food delivery bikes titled New York's Toughest. Sounds awesome. There's a few of them, to be honest with you, but I don't know if one is old. This is from a day ago. Yeah, that's probably it. I'll show you guys. Hold on one sec. One second, y'all. I'll get you a bigger one. There you go. It's pretty cool. It's a really, really nice picture, actually. This is such a, think about the fact that people are still ordering food and, in a way, because they're placing the order, demanding that people go out in this shit and bring them food. It's kind of elitist and obnoxious, if I'm going to be honest. Although it is a really cool picture. Thank you for telling us about that, Richard. I'm just saying it's like the depiction of the society in America or New York specifically. And it's those people, they're people, they have families. Like, they deserve to be in a safe, warm place as well. It's definitely New York's toughest. Glenn Wright says, I went shopping with my American daughter-in-law. She was spending $100 a day on basics for 5 of them. And that was a few years back. Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. It's probably even worse now. John says, that's exactly why I'm an atheist, Mandy. Any God who wants his followers to murder in his name is not any God I want to be associated with. Yep. I'm with you on that, John. That was part of my awakening as well. Marcia says, I'm half white and half Amerindian. Oh, I could have guessed that by your name, obviously. But that's awesome. It's always good. It's always because some of you don't have pictures with your, with your handle. So sometimes I don't, I have an image of you in my head or something. I kind of had like an American Navajo-y, Native American kind of image in my head. It's probably your name, Marsha. Mandy says, thank you for the thanks, Mandy. My fellow online bouncer had to leave. I appreciate it. Of course. Of course. Y'all are the best. My moderators are the best. North Koreans think they are the purest race. Okay. TJ says, UK not doing anything dodgy at the moment. Princess Catherine not pregnant. Oh, I did hear that rumor. Manny says, still can't believe a twice impeached convicted felon is single-handedly ruining America and is destroying the rules-based order in the world. Trumpian and MAGA politics are totally ulcer. He's not doing it on his own, though, Manny. He's got people who are he's got people who are executing it, of course, but he also has people who are orchestrating behind the scenes and pushing him in those directions as well. That's what I'm saying. Like, he can actually be manipulated more so than most of the other people in the government at the moment. That's why I'm not necessarily rooting for him to die, which sounds horrible. I don't mean to imply that anybody else is either. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that, predicting that to be a good outcome, because I'm worried about the people behind him that don't need that pushing and prodding and that convincing. Look, we don't know. No one has a crystal ball. No one knows what the hell is going to happen. We just all have to wait with bated breath and hunker down when the time is right. Marcia says, in world espionage, everyone spies on everyone. You have a few friends, if at all, really. Yeah. I was saying something similar on my other channel about about the circle that you keep. Mainly was the topic, and we were just talking about how you don't need a lot of people. You just need a couple good people that are going to root for you and want you to be successful. And of course, I was specifically talking about your work and everything, but it applies to life. You just need a few people that will have your back and won't leave you behind, basically. And the rest, you can have them in your life. Just be aware that they probably don't have your best interests at heart. Graham Humphreys is here. Hello, Graham. How are you? Graham says, people don't like Trump because he does what he says. Yeah, and we don't want to believe him, right? We just want to write him off as a crazy person. I can't believe we're still running that freaking narrative a decade later. Marcia says, I'm moving to the east coast of Scotland. Really? Oh, keep us posted. Scotland's beautiful. I'm sure you'll love it. Glenn says that's exactly what's happening. The rain can't run off fast enough. Yeah, we have that issue in New Jersey as well, so I'm not surprised. Aphrodisiac is here. Thank you for being here. Says Peter Cushing was Baron Frankenstein. Peter Cushing. I said Cushing. Peter Cushing. Mick MacArthur said, I heard ICE is hitting New Jersey now. I didn't hear that, but I'm not surprised because there's a heavy Latino population in New Jersey. There's actually a heavy Indian and Middle Eastern population as well. It's scary. Mandy, listen to Radio 4 and Radio 4 Extra. It sounds familiar. I wonder if it's one of the stations my partner used to read. Thanks for the tip, Richard. Aphrodisiac says this year's midterm election is crucial. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely crucial. And fingers crossed, I think most of the world will be watching on the edge of their seat. If you're in America, please check your registration, that you are registered to vote, that you're able to vote. Please go out and vote. I'm a mail-in ballot. I'm still waiting for my ballot, so I don't know if I'm even going to get to do that because they're talking about canceling mail-in ballots. So please, if you can vote, please vote your conscience. Vote your conscience. Don't vote for any of the other BS, okay? Vote your conscience. What kind of world do you want children, grandchildren, any kids in your life to live in? Okay? I know nobody's going to be perfect, and I'm sure everyone that we vote for will disappoint us at one point or another because they're politicians. But we have to start getting the incumbents out and voting for people, even if they don't do everything that we say. If they do one thing positive, we can work with that, right? We have to live to fight another day. We're in survival mode in America at this point. Richard says you can listen to the radio and do other things at the same time. But I do that with my playlists too, and I get to sing along. So, Marja says he's going to call a state of emergency. Yeah, that's my thing. That's why he's let ICE run wild, because he wants to create havoc on the ground so he can say, and he wants the protesters to fight back, right? So that he can say, oh, so and like, and deploy the National Guard like he did in DC. Because they are still there, by the way. The National Guard hasn't left DC. Nothing's happening really in DC, violence, protest-wise, really that much. But the National Guard's still on the streets in Washington, D.C. That's what he wants. He wants that everywhere. This way he can declare martial law, and he can be the supreme commander, or whatever it says, and that can go on indefinitely, at least until he dies. That's what he wants. Get BBC sounds. Okay, Richard, I'm writing it all down. Yep, there you go. Marja agrees with me. That's why ICE is there to provoke him, to provoke the populace. Yep. TJ says, before you watch the Haggis videos, watch Michael Benteen's Potty Time. Okay. Vance is Peter Thiel's houseboy. Yeah, it's scary as hell. It's like a Manchurian candidate. I can't speak today, guys. Manchurian candidate. TJ says, I'm going to throw this out there. Trump is in with or owes KGB. Melania is the plant to watch him. I don't know about that. I mean, look, I definitely think there's a connection between Trump and Russia. Like, I think that's undeniable. Melania, that's an interesting thing to think about. Because I've often wondered, Melania kind of showed up out of the blue, and she definitely isn't, like, he does not rule her, right? Like, she does her thing. He does not have much power over her, which is interesting and unique for his position, right? And his history with women. So it's something to think about. It's definitely something to think about. Richard said, well, as my ancestor burnt the White House, other Americans burnt the rest of Washington. Marcia says, well, Trump is demolishing the White House. Yeah. What are you talking about? You guys are talking about this Michael Benteen guy, I think. He's digging for gold. Yeah. It's so disgusting. He just wants it to be a palace. That's basically what it is. And he wants his name to be on the White House so that, it's there forever. John Broxton says, I'm finding I just need to go de-stress a lot these days, which I didn't need to do before. I went out to the Mojave Desert the other weekend, open air desert landscapes, back to nature. Yeah, I get you, John. It's that like quiet tension. I mean, I had it when I was in America, and it wasn't, I mean, it was chaotic, but not like it is now. So I could imagine that it's something that you need to do. Do what you got to do, man. Take care of yourself. Because we're no good to anybody or anything, right? If we're not running on all fours. Mojave Desert is beautiful. It's very LA of you as well, John, by the way. I need to decompress. I'm going to go to the desert for a while. Just connect with nature, you know? I'm just playing. Giant Haystack is here. Hello, Giant. How are you? Evening. Was thinking about having a small glass of wine. Can I get anyone anything? Oh, yeah. I'll have some wine. Roy Cousin says, I think the FIFA Peace Prize should be replaced by the Nobel World Cup. Oh, funny. Richard said a picture of me would break your screen. I'm sure that's not true, Richard. I'm sure that's not true. Come on, Genghis, let's get drunk. I should start drinking on this show. I should start drinking at the last half hour and see where it goes. Enjoy your Chianti, Marcia. I've got February off and then back to the salt mines, Marcia says. Oh, you got the whole month off? That's kind of cool. I don't know how you swung that, but I hope you're doing something relaxing and interesting and fun, because what's the point? Richard said, my boss is a slave driver. I'm a self-employed. Yeah, mine too. I never get a day off. Freaking bitch. Giant Haystack says, rather than a Nobel World Cup, they should get involved with an active campanology group and have the No Peace Bell Prize. I don't follow that at all, but it's just funny to say No Peace Bell Prize. Sounds like some kind of like Taco Bell surprise in the bottom of your... They don't have Happy Meals with the equivalent. Never mind. I lost the thread. Never mind. John says, 20 years in LA, anyone would turn a bit hippie. Fair point, John. John says we need a drunk Mandy show. Yeah? I'll tell you what. We are at 12,749 subscribers. If we can get to 13,000 subscribers, I will do a drunk show. Okay, it'll be chat has the calm, and I'll just drink, and you guys tell me what to do. But we got to hit the 18,000 mark. 18, I said 18. We're not that high yet. 13,000. Let's get 13,000 subs. Yeah? I'll tell you what. If we can get to 25 members, I'll do a second drunk show. Like, I'll do 2 in a week. I'll do the main show, and then I'll do an extra live show. And I will drink it both. Hopefully I'll have nothing else going on that night or that week. We'll see. Yeah, that's the problem, Rory, right? When you work for yourself, you can never get away from your boss. They're always on you. They're like boot on your neck kind of thing. Campanology is bell ringing. That makes sense. Thanks. Thank you, TJ. Giant says, alcohol, the cause and solution to a lot of life's problems. A quote from one of the greatest thinkers, Mr. Homer Simpson. Cheers. I love that too, Diane. All right, y'all. I'm going to go. I'm going to end on this, though. John says, I look in the mirror and I see my boss too, my wife standing behind me. All right, I'm going to end on this, guys, because, you know, I try to always end on something positive. Listen, we can't control everything. All right, we only have so much power, as we were talking about earlier, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing. We can exercise our power when we have the chance to, and then we can harness the rest of our energy in our immediate circles, right? And focus on making our immediate circles stronger and better. if we can do that, if everybody can do that, or at least the majority of people can do that, then I think it'll naturally spill into the rest of the world and the rest of our communities. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And I hope that you guys can try to do that and find some fun and find some enjoyment. And I hope this community helps you all in that. Thank you all for just being a part of this community. Thank you all for this chat. It was awesome. Not as light as I thought it would be, but we managed to be able to have fun with it anyway. Everyone, just please protect your kids and just look out for each other and take care of yourselves. Wishing you guys all the best. Love you all. I will see you next week, same time, same place as we always are. And please come back and join us again, because this next show will only be better if you guys are there. Love you all.